Happy day, everyone. I'm Life Coach JJ Joshua at JJ4FOR Insight.com. I have been providing miracle-minded life coaching since 1992, and today I'm going to offer an idea: 5 kinds of creation styles. What is your creation style? What do you want it to be? So I will cover all 5 styles in a little bit of detail and then give you one practice, one very simple practice you can do in 2 minutes or less on how to activate the most empowered creation style, which I'm going to start with. The number 1 most empowered style is called CoCreation. So I've got the gold stars on there. This is the gold standard of a creation style. Number 2, OverCreation. OverCreation. Number 3, UnderCreation. And number 4, this one's the tricky one. Number 4 is AvoidanceCreation. AvoidanceCreation, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. And then number 5 is UnCreation. So the truth is, we are doing all 5 of those creation styles all day long. We kind of organically weave in and out of them. But let's begin with co-creation. And what does that mean? Co-creation is motivated by love, a higher love, divine love, and it is performed and activated within the cosmic quantum field of abundance. Inside of you and every one of us is, I'm going to show you a little symbol for your higher self. Look at this beautiful crystal bowl. It's just there. It's just there, bringing truth inside of you, the truth of who you really are before you hit life and life hit back. And this does not have to be earned or learned. It's right there inside of you every day. And when we activate that aspect of ourself, the higher self, the exalted self, the authentic self, doesn't matter what you call it, it comes from a place of wisdom and knowledge and perspective that is far beyond any other place in your consciousness. And from that place, you can experience and create miracles and go the distance on things that might be difficult. So activating the action and the field of energy for co-creation takes just 1 minute. You do it every day in the morning. And while I'm thinking about it, there's another video I would like for you to check out called The Most Important 8 Minutes of Your Life. And that one, combined with this practice, is a great way to start your day by just simply calling in your own higher self in whatever way that works for you. It's like, yo, higher self, I know you're there. I believe that this is inside of me. And I'm calling upon that truth to guide my every thought, word, and deed today in the field of abundant, loving co-creation. Boom. Now, you've set the intention, you've called in help from your higher self, and then you just go about your day with a heightened awareness. Am I still in that field? Can I connect with loving? Am I moving from loving? Okay, number 2 is called OverCreation. Now, this is evidence of this everywhere in America. All the storage units, the landfills. In some cases, debt can be overcreation. How about packing our calendar so full of things to do, you hardly have time for breathing? That's overcreation. And overcreation is often, but not always, but often motivated by fear, kind of a subconscious greed, and within the field of scarcity. Overcreating is more, more, more. I gotta have more, more, more. I gotta have this to be happy. Is actually a space of scarcity rather than abundance. Now, number 3 here, UnderCreation. UnderCreation is motivated most often by fear within the field of possible trauma, shame, and scarcity. Trauma, shame, and scarcity. For example, I had a client years and years ago that was a very prolific artist. She had been since she was very, very young. And she would only show her art to really close friends, like 2 people in the world. And she had a storage unit full of all of her art. And she never wanted to share it. And that was because of a fear of one time in her childhood when her siblings just kind of ruthlessly teased her for being an artist and just being who she was. And once we cleared that trauma, she started sharing and went from UnderCreation to CoCreation. And co-creation is a space of, it's a space of sublime support. Years ago, I had a client come to me who, a very shy, humble man, beautiful in his countenance, but very reserved. It was almost as though he was afraid to use the air in the room. And he very shyly told me that at that moment in time, he held the second highest IQ ever measured for humans. And he came to me because he felt it was a profound gift. It was a gift from the higher power, big sweetie, whatever you want to call it. And he wanted to use that gift responsibly. He was aware that his intellect could be used by others for harm. And he wanted to make sure that he started his trajectory of career, which turned out to be medical invention, and to do so connecting to that divine guidance and allowing it to guide his every thought, word, and deed. And he learned how to do that and went off to his life, very productive life of medical invention. And in every day, several times a day, he would reset himself to being in the co-creation state. Okay, so number 3, we talked about OverCreation, and UnderCreation is number 3. And this one is a little tricky, avoidance creation. Avoidance creation comes when you create B to avoid A. The best example and the saddest example I've ever heard from a client is a woman who admitted to me, I knew when I was walking down the aisle that I was not to marry that guy, but I went ahead and did it because I was so afraid of being alone. So to avoid aloneness, she married a man that she knew was not good for her. And then 5 years later, which is when she came to me, she's going through a very just vicious, awful, and very expensive divorce. So that's the uncreation of an avoidance creation. And avoidance creations are almost always motivated by fear. Within the field of fear, denial and scarcity. Within the field of fear, denial, and scarcity is an avoidance correction and also an avoidance creation. Now, we do those all the time. For example, mid-afternoon when I've got a list of things that I still need to do and I'm starting to get tired, okay, I get on the phone and I'm Facebooking and I'm scrolling. And so I'm using social media or books or reading or watching, binge watching. I'm using that as an avoidance creation for something I know I need to do, and I either don't have the juice for it or something about it makes me nervous. And so I create in a way that is definitely not a co-creation state. So we are all doing these all day long. The trick is to become aware of which one you're in and then how to set the restart button. I want to get back to this one. So the last one is called UnCreation. And UnCreation can be motivated by love or fear. It really depends upon the circumstances. So going through a divorce is an UnCreation, and it can be fearful, or it can be that you're choosing to love yourself more because you're letting go of a relationship that no longer serves you. Moving from town to a new town, that's an UnCreation, but it's also can be at the same time a co-creation. So UnCreation and co-creation can be different sides of the same coin. Time is our partner in UnCreation. I am uncreating the minute that happened 60 seconds ago, and now I'm in this new 60 seconds. So we're uncreating ourselves as a younger person. Yesterday is uncreated as soon as we go to bed and go to sleep. UnCreation happens organically, and it can be motivated by love or fear within the field of abundance or scarcity, really depending on what the action is and who the undoer is. So taking in a deep breath and remembering, how do I want to create my day? As Mary Oliver says, what will you do with your one precious life? So a simple thing to do is every morning, just call upon with a simple request. I'm calling upon my most exalted self, my higher self. I'm calling upon divine love to walk with me this day, to mentor me this day, as I choose to walk through this day in every thought, word, and deed as a co-creator. I'm choosing to co-create. All it takes is awareness, intention, and the action of calling it in, and then just checking yourself during the day. One of the things you'll notice when you're in the field of co-creation, have you ever had one of those experiences where you're getting involved with something and time just disappears? You're like, 2 hours have gone by and you're like, wow, that's co-creation. That's the state of co-creation. That's connected to love, which has incredible and infinite energy, inspiration, it has genius, and it has perspective that the other creations don't have. So just simply feel yourself. If you're starting, your energy's starting to go down and you're starting to, want to uncreate or avoidance create, then just restart, take in a few deep breaths, stand up tall for a couple minutes and hold yourself in the power posture. Taking a breath, put on a smile, and then call upon this exalted self. It's there, and that is your most powerful co-creation partner. So I thank you so much for clicking in today, for being here. And I have a handout available if you would like this full 2-page handout, lots of details about all 5 styles and how to activate the co-creation. Just send me an email, jj@jj4insight.com, and just put creation handout in the subject, and I'll just shoot one right over to you. And I thank you so much for popping in today. As always, be kind to your mind. You are a powerful co-creator. Just remember it. Just do it. Ta-ta for now.